Alright, you guys. I know. I'm not a good YouTuber. I should probably be kicked out. Think? Well, this is what's going on. As you know, I have been having some crazy things going on with me. And basically, to get you caught up, for anybody who's not subscribed, I've been losing feeling in my hands and feet. It's going up to my elbows and knees. Now it's down the left side of my back. And now it's going to my crotch. I gotta tell you, I don't want to lose feeling in my crotch, if you know what I mean. So, went to the doctor, and the primary said, "Oh, you've got diabetic neuropathy." Well, there you go. Of course it's diabetic neuropathy, because, why? Because I used to be diabetic, you know? Like, that I pulled the BS card on that. Give me a break, you know? It's just way too easy. And, and plus, diabetic neuropathy is a progressive thing. It doesn't appear overnight, and this appeared overnight, literally. So, I decided to go to a neurologist. He says, "You don't have diabetic neuropathy." I'm like, duh, you know? So he did all these little sensory tests and all this stuff. One of the things that he did, he had me relax my hand, and he squeezed my finger. And he says, whenever you squeeze your finger, the natural reaction is to claw up, but my fingers go up. Same thing on my feet. He rubbed the bottom of my feet with that little, what is that word? That reflex, to see your reflexes. He rubbed on the bottom of my feet. Instead of curling up, my toes went straight up. He says, you know what? He said, "You're diabetic, you're a bariatric patient?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Let me do some research." Did some research. He says, "I bet you have a copper deficiency. Let's run the lab." And I ran the lab, got it back. I don't have a copper deficiency. On a scale of 70 to 155, I'm hitting a 130. I excel at something, So, hang on, I got to get a booger out of my eye, but I don't want you to have to look at that. So, just a minute, I'll be right back. Okay, much better. So, he sent me in for an MRI. Got the MRI back, and as it turns out, I have my spine is being compressed in my neck. Now, typically, if you'll imagine this like a fried egg, or poached egg, whatever. This is an egg, and in the middle would be your yolk. That's your spine. And all the way around it, the white would be your spinal fluid. This is what it looks like normally, if you can imagine it, Mine is squeezed down to like this. So, that was Thursday. Then on Friday, I went to see the neurosurgeon. And he did all these little tests. I got to tell you about the neurosurgeon because he was flipping funny. I said to the nurse, I said, "So tell me about Dr. Baker." She goes, "We love him. He's funny." She says, "But he is in a bad mood today." I'm like, great. I get the grumpy doctor, on the grumpy day, And so he comes in and he goes, "Yeah, didn't get any sleep last night." And so his nurse came back in. I said, "He didn't get any sleep last night." She goes, "Is that what's going on?" She goes, "Well, he has been in the worst mood ever. We've been feeding him, thinking it was low blood sugar." So, I went out. He was at the desk, and I went out, and I said, "Hey, listen, how long is this recovery time?" He said, "About 2 weeks." And I said, "Okay." And so I went back in the room. Well, I went out, and Dr. Baker, I forgot to ask you. He turns around to me, he goes, "What are you doing out of the room? You're not allowed to be out of the room. Go back in your room." He was laughing, joking with me. I'm like, okay, he is funny. I've charmed him, And so I went back in the room, and anyway, and then I thought of another question, so I said to his nurse, hey, listen, my neurologist prescribed steroids, and should I take them? She goes, let me go ask. So she left the door open. She went up to him and she says, the patient in 2 wants to know whether or not she should take steroids. He says, what is it with these patients? He says, they always ask questions after I've left the room. Don't they know once I've left the room, I've left the room. I'm no longer available. I went to the door and I yelled at him, I can hear you. You know, what the heck? Pull your little attitude with somebody else. I ain't buying it, you know? Jeez. You know, it's not like you're not getting paid for the service, dude, you know? So, he took it good-naturedly, and he went down the hall, and I said, listen, my surgery's at 8 on Wednesday morning. I want to make sure that you're in a good mood, so you get some sleep that night and eat breakfast that morning, because I'm not having none of this little surgeon attitude you pulling around here, okay? And he looked at me, and I said, I guess I shouldn't piss you off before you do surgery on me. He says, not advised. Oh, yay, I pissed my surgeon off. Great. Chai latte. Yummy. With protein in it. So I'm having surgery on Wednesday. I will have 100% recovery. They're going to kind of grind that bone down, I guess, and slip a plastic sheet between my spine and the bone, and then they're going to fuse C3, C4, and C5 together. It's very high in my neck. They're going to go from the front, and it'll be 100% recovery. And I'm guessing I'm going to see a lot of improvement immediately, because that compression will be off, you know. And so I'm very much looking forward to it, strangely enough. You know, I had myself diagnosed with MS, so I got to tell you, I didn't want something long-term and debilitating. I mean, if it happens, I'll deal with it. But if I can avoid it, yeah, let's avoid long-term complications. So, and he said, you know what? You won't have to wear a neck brace. He says you're going to have this plastic thing. It's about that wide. He showed it to me, about that long, and it'll be on those 3 vertebrae. And then he says, after you're recovering, he says, if you want to stand on your head, stand on your head. You'll have no physical restrictions. He said you'll have decreased flexibility in your neck, about 6, maybe 7% of it, you know. And I'm like, that's cool. You know, I can live with that, you know. What's funny is my husband, Donnie, the evil Dr. Donnie, has surgery on Tuesday for a hernia repair. And my surgery's on Wednesday. So we're going to be hanging around the house, out moaning each other, showing each other our scars, and trying to get the other person to get up and get us a drink, you know. You know? Oh, Donnie, I feel so bad. I feel so bad. I feel so, you know, I wish I had a drink. So do I want a drink, you know. I don't know, you know. So it's gonna be ugly. But anyway, I did it like that because the guy is going on vacation, and I don't want to wait. Even if he goes on for a week, I don't want to wait a week to get my hands back, and especially when it's creeping into my crotch area. I like my crotch area, and I want to maintain the feeling there. You know what I mean? So I'm sorry it took so long for me to get back at you, but I've been having stuff. And last but